Hey guys, just thought I'd show you my latest madness here with the Redcat RS10. Just to kind of give you guys a framework of what I'm trying to accomplish with all my tinkering here. Is I do not want to throw a ton of money at this, because I know that it's always just going to be a Redcat RS10. You know, just looking at parts like this and thinking, should I change this? Would it be good to change this? Here's your distance on your links, top link, bottom link. I see people cutting this all the time, but you know what that does? That puts your top and bottom links close together on the frame. And then if you think about how this works here, you've got this horn that screws right here. It comes up here. And I was measuring that the distance basically between here and here looks to be about 68 millimeters. And I was trying to eyeball it up as best I could, but the eye point from here to the little metal horn there also appears to be about 68 millimeters. Well, the beauty of that is you're getting a parallelogram, which means you're not going to introduce any caster. You're not going to be clocking the axle. And I think that the people who just jump to the conclusion that, oh, well, I want to make this look more like a Berg or a reel crawler, so reel crawlers are skinny, so I'm going to chop this down. What they don't realize is that reel crawlers have super nice axles, and they let you do your forelinks more like in real life, where the forelinks are very close to either, so the top links are very close to the center diff on top of the axle, and the lower links are very close, maybe to the bottom or the back of the axle, right? You either see the links there or more like there, right? And so the difference here to here is a lot smaller. So that means the distance here to here on your frame should be a lot smaller. Now, unless there is some way, some clever way to mount the triangulated links lower, there's really no reason to be chopping down this frame. Also, I see people attempting to mount shocks onto these axles. Well, it's just not going to happen. You've got a motor sticking out here, and there's just no way, unless your shock is coming out at some crazy angle like this, that you're going to be able to mount a shock onto this axle. I also see people putting like metal tabs across here. Well, if you look at how this thing's put together, I just don't want to do that. It just doesn't seem right to me. But what I can see doing is totally fabricating my own link out of sheet stock. So I went ahead and cut these out of 1/4 inch marine grade aluminum. Pretty light. I think they're going to work real nice. Just to give you an idea, see the shock mounting kind of location. You can see how much more lift they would give, and they could be flat like this and still have almost the same lift that it's got right now. Imagined. Get a lot. So to get that same lift, that would be about like that, and round over the edges, put some Traxxas Revo ends on it, which I need to get. But I had the aluminum, had the time, and while I had the whole thing apart with the side plate out and everything, it was just easy to lay this on a piece of cardboard and attach an end, put that there, attach a shock top, and just sort of figure out how things should be. So I'm seeing maybe a hole there for the shock. Mount it on the side. I think that would work okay. But I could also cut a slot in this baby and put in some kind of like a Y piece that would mount to the shock. I'm not really sure what's the best way to go with that. Yeah, buddy, $420 per cell. Comes with rear wheel steering. And I think the reason they do that is because the front wheel steering is really limited as it comes stock. There's these little like stop horns, and even then you barely can get to them. But with the settings, you kind of almost have to go over the 100% on your endpoints. First thing I want to show you is the classic Berg style rear wheel steering lockout. The vehicle comes with rear wheel steering, and you know, if you want to try it without rear wheel steering, you have to tie the linkage in, and there's still a lot of wiggle because the linkages are crap. They're just really wiggly. They wear out instantly. So the way to really lock it out is you use 1/2 inch water pipe, 0.45 inches long exactly. Carefully trim back the horns so that will fit in there. Rotate it. It'll leave a little copper mark. You'll see exactly where to cut. Get in there with a razor knife. Cut that out. Clean that out. Make sure it's perfectly flat. Don't see any daylight through it when it's pressed down real nice. Put the whole thing back together. Now you have completely locked out the rear steering. You can eliminate all the linkages, servos, everything like that. Okay. Okay. Another little mod I did is I changed out my stock servo with an axial AS-3. This is a waterproof servo. This servo increased my steering throw so dramatically that I had to clip the stop horns off. And then I found that my tires were rubbing on the suspension. So I could theoretically offset my tires, make them even wider so I could get more throw. But just let me demonstrate just how much throw that is. I've got my endpoints set to 75% to keep the wheel from hitting the linkage. If I had it to 100%, it would come right over and the servo would make a little noise because it would be binding up a little bit. So I didn't want to be stressing out the servo, so I set my endpoints to 75% so I'm not hitting the little stop horns I trimmed down with my razor knife. The little stop horn I trimmed down with my razor knife. I didn't want to hit that, and I didn't want the tires to hit that, so it didn't seem necessary to get the kind of steering throw you want. So I'm not missing the rear steering one little bit. I've got more front steering than you get when you buy it from Red Cat. So, things you might want to do that are really cheap. This servo cost me $16.95 shipped off of eBay. And these little pieces of water pipe, they're basically free. I mean, they're just tiny little sections of it. It's just the time it takes to do it. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And get out there and do some crawling.